Have you ever felt like you're constantly trying to catch up? You forget assignments, lose notes, miss deadlines, and somehow your backpack becomes a black hole where important papers disappear forever. And the worst part is that it makes school feel way harder than it actually needs to be. Most students think they're disorganized because they're lazy, bad at planning, or just not productive enough. But that's usually not the real problem. The real problem is that nobody teaches us how to build systems. Because being organized isn't about having the prettiest planner, color-coded notes, or a perfectly clean desk. It's about making your life easier. When you're organized, you spend less time looking for things, less time stressing about deadlines, and more time actually getting work done. So in this video, I'm going to show you a complete student organization system that can help you stay on top of school without spending your entire life planning it. Before we start fixing the problem, there's something important you need to understand. Most students try to organize one thing, like their notes or their desk, and then wonder why they still feel overwhelmed. That's because organization isn't just one thing. It's actually made up of 5 areas. The first is your time, knowing what needs to be done and when. The second is your school materials, your notes, books, worksheets, and assignments. The third is your tasks, homework, projects, revision, and exams. The fourth is your environment, your desk, backpack, and even your digital files. And the fifth is your energy. Because even the best plan won't work if you're exhausted and burned out. When one of these areas becomes messy, school starts feeling harder than it needs to be. But when all 5 work together, everything becomes simpler. So let's start with the system that keeps organized students in control every single week. The first system every organized student needs is a weekly plan. Notice how I said weekly, not daily. A lot of students create these perfect daily schedules with every hour planned out. But then life happens. A test gets announced. You feel tired, or something unexpected comes up. And suddenly the whole plan falls apart. That's why I prefer planning by week. Every Sunday, take about 10 minutes and write down the important things you need to get done that week. Maybe it's finishing a chapter in math, completing a science project, or preparing for an upcoming exam. Then ask yourself one simple question. What are the 3 most important things I need to accomplish this week? Just 3. Not 20, not 30. 3. This immediately reduces overwhelm and gives you a clear direction. Instead of waking up every day wondering what to do, you already know what matters most. And that's exactly what organized students do. They focus on priorities, not endless to-do lists. Now that you know your priorities for the week, let's talk about what to do each day. One of the biggest mistakes students make is creating massive to-do lists. You write down 15 tasks, look at the list, feel overwhelmed, and end up doing nothing. Instead, use what I call the top 3 system. At the start of each day, write down only 3 important tasks. For example, finish math homework, revise biology notes, work on the English essay. That's it. If you finish those 3 tasks, you've had a productive day. And if you get extra work done, that's a bonus. This system works because it gives your brain a clear target. You're no longer trying to do everything at once. You're focusing on what matters most right now. Remember, being organized isn't about doing more things. It's about making sure the right things get done consistently. And the next system makes that even easier by deciding exactly which subjects you should focus on each day. The next system completely changed the way I study, and it's called the subject rotation system. Focus on just 2 main subjects each day, one difficult subject and one easier subject. For example, if math takes a lot of mental effort, pair it with a lighter subject like history or literature. This reduces mental overload and helps you concentrate for longer because you're not constantly switching gears. Another simple rule: give every subject a home. That means one notebook, one folder, or one digital space for each subject. No random papers stuffed into your backpack. No notes scattered across different notebooks. When everything has a place, you waste less time searching and more time actually studying. Organization becomes much easier when your brain knows exactly where everything belongs. And speaking of keeping track of things, let's talk about the system that prevents assignments and deadlines from sneaking up on you. Let's talk about one of the biggest causes of student stress: forgotten assignments. Most students don't miss deadlines because they're lazy. They miss them because they trust their memory. And your memory is not a reliable planner. The moment a teacher gives you homework, a project, or announces a test, write it down immediately. Not after class, not when you get home, immediately. Use a planner, a notes app, a calendar, or even a simple notebook. The tool doesn't matter. The habit does. Organized students don't try to remember everything. They build systems that remember for them. A helpful trick is to check your assignment list for 1 minute before leaving school and 1 minute before going to bed. This keeps important deadlines fresh in your mind and prevents last-minute panic. Because nothing feels worse than realizing an assignment is due tomorrow when you haven't even started it. Now let's move on to something most students completely ignore: their backpack, desk, and study environment. Most students focus on studying harder, but they ignore their study environment. Think about it. It's much harder to start studying when your desk is covered in clutter and your backpack is packed with random papers from 3 weeks ago. That's why organized students use simple reset habits. Every evening, spend just 2 minutes resetting your backpack. Throw away trash, remove old worksheets, and make sure tomorrow's books and notebooks are already packed. Then do the same with your desk. Clear away anything you don't need, put supplies back where they belong, and leave your study space ready for your next session. The goal isn't to have a perfect Pinterest desk. The goal is to make it easy to start, because every obstacle between you and your work creates friction, and friction leads to procrastination. A clean, organized space sends your brain a simple message: I'm ready to focus. And now let's talk about another type of clutter that most students forget about: completely digital clutter. A lot of your school life doesn't just exist on paper, it exists on your phone and computer too. And if your digital files are a mess, you're probably wasting more time than you realize. Have you ever spent 10 minutes looking for a screenshot, a PDF, or a document you know you saved somewhere? That's digital clutter. The solution is simple. Create one folder for school, then create separate folders for each subject inside it: math, science, English, history. And whenever you save a file, give it a clear name. Not document 27 or notes. Final. Instead, name it something like Biology Chapter 4 Notes or Math Test Revision. Your future self will thank you. The goal is that whenever you need something, you know exactly where to find it in seconds. Because organization isn't just about keeping things tidy, it's about saving time and reducing stress. Now that your time, assignments, materials, and files are organized, let's talk about something even more important. Most students plan their study sessions around time. Organized students plan around energy. Think about when you naturally feel the most focused during the day. For some people, it's early morning. For others, it's after school or later in the evening. That's when you should schedule your hardest work. Things like math problems, difficult chapters, essays, or exam preparation require the most mental energy. Then save lower energy tasks for when you're tired. Things like reviewing notes, organizing files, making flashcards, or reading through material. A lot of students struggle not because they're lazy, but because they're trying to do their hardest work when their brain is already exhausted. So instead of forcing yourself to study the same way every day, work with your energy levels. And remember, productivity isn't about working nonstop. If you want a system that actually lasts, you need to know how to recover when things don't go according to plan. That's where the next rule comes in. You're going to fall behind sometimes. You'll have busy weeks, bad days, and moments when you don't feel like studying at all. The mistake isn't falling behind. The mistake is staying behind. That's why I love the 48-hour rule. The rule is simple: if you miss a study session or stop following your system, get back on track within the next 48 hours. Don't wait until next Monday. Don't wait for a new month. Start again as soon as possible. A simple way to do this is with a 1-hour reset session. Spend 20 minutes on a difficult subject, 20 minutes on an easier subject, and 20 minutes reviewing notes, homework, or upcoming assignments. That's it. No 6-hour catch-up marathon. No guilt. No trying to be perfect. Just a reset. Because organized students don't succeed by never making mistakes. They succeed because they recover quickly when things go wrong. And speaking of avoiding burnout, let's talk about how to stay organized without feeling like your entire life revolves around school. A lot of students think being organized means studying all the time. It doesn't. In fact, one of the fastest ways to become disorganized is to burn yourself out. That's why I like the 2-1 rule. For every 2 focused study sessions, do one thing you genuinely enjoy. Watch an episode of your favorite show. Go for a walk. Draw. Listen to music. Read or spend time with friends. These breaks aren't a reward for being productive. They're part of the system, because a system only works if you can actually stick to it. And on days when you feel tired, stressed, or completely unmotivated, use the bare minimum system. Instead of doing nothing, set a tiny goal. Maybe read 2 pages, review notes for 5 minutes, or solve 3 practice questions. It may not seem like much, but consistency beats perfection every time. The goal is to keep moving forward, even on difficult ones. And finally, let's bring everything together with one weekly habit that keeps your entire system running smoothly. The final piece of this system is something I call the Sunday reset. Every Sunday, spend just 20 to 30 minutes getting your life back in order. Clean your desk, organize your notes, empty your backpack, check upcoming assignments and deadlines, and create a simple plan for the week ahead. Think of it as pressing the reset button before a new week begins. This small habit prevents little problems from turning into overwhelming ones. And that's really what organization is all about. It's not having the perfect planner. It's not color-coding every note. Organization is about making life easier. When your assignments are tracked, your notes are organized, your study space is ready, and you have a simple system to follow, school becomes far less stressful. So don't try to change everything today. Pick one system from this video and start there. Because organized students aren't born organized. They simply build systems that help them stay in control. And you can do exactly the same.